We are going to look at the Mandela message movie Castaway. Even the name of this movie is a Mandela effect. Did you know that? It used to be Castaway, which is a thing. Now it is Cast Away, which is an action. At the end of the video, I'll tell you what this Mandela effect means. Let me introduce our main character. Tom Hanks plays Chuck Noland. Chuck is a manager of operations who has made it very high on the FedEx corporate ladder. Chuck is a very driven, hard-working, and passionate leader for FedEx. While training people at the Moscow FedEx facility, he is seen giving the workers a stern lecture. Here is an excerpt. Because we live or we die by the clock, we never turn our back on it, and we never ever allow ourselves the sin of losing track of time. That's a very early clue right there. For Chuck, this concept he shares means spending time at work and being devoted to the company, but his story has just begun. He is a work in progress, just like all of us. It is Christmas Eve and Chuck flies home for a huge family get-together and a true feast. He is sitting across the table from his girl, Kelly, and everyone is very happy. Chuck's beeper goes off and Kelly notices. They look at each other, and you can tell she is dying inside. Then she puts on a brave smile. Chuck has to board a flight immediately, so they compare their schedules and they are off to the airport. They open the Christmas presents they got each other in the car. Chuck gives Kelly what looks like a wrapped ring box and tells her it's not the kind of present you open in the car. She has to wait. He boards his flight with his FedEx coworkers and they run into trouble. The plane goes down in the middle of the ocean and Chuck is the only survivor. He is now adrift at sea in a little inflatable survival raft, which is being tossed around in a huge storm. Finally, he washes up on a deserted island. He has only a few items that came from the plane, and life is very hard for him there. He considers killing himself, but eventually begins to adapt to his harsh, new environment. After a long time on the island, he formulates a plan to make a raft and get past the swelling, crashing waves that stand between him and the open sea. His efforts are successful, and after being spotted by a huge cargo ship, he is rescued. After years as a castaway, he gets to go home. After some time recovering, he is aboard a FedEx plane again, flying home to Memphis with his friend and former coworker, Stan. When Chuck was lost at sea, Stan's wife was battling cancer, and now that Chuck is back, we learn that she lost her battle. What Chuck says in his conversation with Stan is very interesting. So you had my funeral, and then you had Mary's funeral. Stan, I am so sorry I wasn't around when Mary died. I should have been there for you, and I wasn't. I am so sorry. Stan doesn't say anything in response to Chuck's apology. In a real-life set of circumstances like these, I would have said, of course you weren't, and I'm just glad I've got you back. After all, Chuck went through his own hell and almost died too. Despite that fact, the focus here is on how Chuck wasn't there for a friend who was hurting. When he was stuck on the island, Chuck had a picture of Kelly, and it meant everything to him. He was gone a long time, though. She is married now and has a kid. When Chuck gets to see her again, he acknowledges the mistakes he made with her. He tells her, I never should have gotten on that plane. I never should have gotten out of the car. He made his career an extremely high priority over his #1 relationship, and in an ill-fated instant, it cost him everything. Chuck and Kelly continue to talk, and she reminds him what he said right before he got on his doomed flight. You said you'd be right back. Upon hearing this, he tells her he's sorry. He has now apologized to both of the people that really needed him while he was lost on that island. Chuck goes back to Stan and reflects. I added it up, knew that I'd lost her, because I was never going to get off that island. I was going to die there, totally alone, and I was going to get sick or get injured or something. The only choice I had, the only thing I could control was when and how and where that was going to happen. So I made a rope and I went up to the summit to hang myself. And I had to test it, of course, you know me. And the weight of the log snapped the limb of the tree. So I couldn't even kill myself the way I wanted to. I had power over nothing. That's when this feeling came over me like a warm blanket. I knew, somehow, that I had to stay alive. Somehow. I had to keep breathing, even though there was no reason to hope. And all my logic said that I would never see this place again. So that's what I did. I stayed alive. I kept breathing, and then one day that logic was proven all wrong because the tide came in, gave me a sail, And now here I am. I'm back in Memphis talking to you. I have ice in my glass, and I've lost her all over again. I'm so sad I don't have Kelly, but I'm so grateful that she was with me on that island. And I know what I have to do now. I gotta keep breathing because tomorrow the sun will rise. Who knows what the tide could bring? At the beginning of the movie, Chuck lectures the Russian FedEx employees about the importance of time, saying, "We never ever allow ourselves the sin of losing track of time." He was partly right. Time is precious, but his priorities had been all wrong. His relationships are what he missed most while he was on that island. That's why he formed a friendship with a volleyball. The FedEx logo is a Mandela effect, and later in this video series, we will look at what it means. Time is a main theme in Castaway, and time is directly related to the meaning of the FedEx Mandela effect. How about that Mandela effect we see in the name of this movie? Why is it now seen as cast away? That's simple. If we don't all learn these lessons, we will be cast away, thrown out.